Obtaining a human body is difficult. Death and impermanence are imminent. Samsara is suffering, but true Dharma is available now. Don't squander your life.
Tell me the truth, I want to know. Just where to look and how to go. I need to find true peace. I need to understand, to bring my suffering to an end.
Release the love I hold inside. Let me be true and never hide behind a face of fear or animosity. To break the chains of misery.
How to let go and just be free. The time is now, it's destiny. Surrender now that I have found a way to keep somehow more than a broken vow.
Let me always forever be on one accord, truth and me, abiding in sweet grace, the glow on my face, victorious to win the race. How to let go and just be free. The time is now, it's destiny. Surrender now that I have found a way to keep somehow more than a broken vow. The noble path, I walk it every day, and then I realize there's more to life than only bitterness and lies. I close my eyes. I found the way, the course that leads to ease. A liberating path that frees.
I found the way, a course that leads to ease, a liberating path that frees.
I will let go and just be free. The way it's clear, the victory. How to let go now that I've found a way to keep right now. A true, unbroken vow. Obtaining a human body is difficult. Death and impermanence are imminent. Samsara is suffering, but true Dharma is available now. Don't squander your life. So actually, you could consider, if you were focused intently on the subject of that song, that would be what meditation is. So we have this outer notion of meditation, and we have this list of things to do or not do, and we have these tasks, but that's only an outer form. And if we follow just the outer form without entering into the essence of it, we never penetrate the reality of where the practice of meditation is taking us. Some people say, I meditate every day. I sit 10 minutes, I sit 30 minutes, I sit 1 hour. But they never left that cushion. We just came back from a 4-day meditation retreat. And we're going to plan one very soon, and it's going to start with a day-long, just a Saturday retreat. Because it's not something that you can read an instruction and just do. It's also not something that you can ultimately do in a group until you have become proficient. One reason is because there are instructions for a group. Don't get up, move around, don't disturb other people, don't do this. And so when you come in and you sit for the whole time, let's say that you never got focused, you never got concentrated, then you're just sitting there. And what happens is an aversion rises up uh, for even trying to learn how to meditate. Also, habitual tendency rises up. I can't focus. I can't get my mind concentrated. I don't even know what that is. Can't get still. Can't get steady. But also, I can't disturb other people. Can't move. Shouldn't be walking around. Where the instruction is, if you start nodding off, getting unfocused, lose attention, get up. Otherwise, you will get in the habit. Our body is so wonderfully made that if we do something a few times, our sympathetic nervous system kicks in and says, when she does this, she wants to do this. So after a while, you find that when she sits down on a pillow to meditate, in 5 minutes, she wants to take a nap. And the body will just help you take that nap. It will become a habitual tendency for you that's very difficult to break. Then there's also the investigative aspect of meditation. It means that you have to stop and review in the training part of it. You have to stop and review what just happened. What did I notice? Where was I really? What kind of state was I in? Was my mind relaxed or was it anxious? Did I zone out? How long did it take me to realize I had zoned out? How do I bring it back? Where do I start in that whole process? How do I pick up? Or where do I pick up? Do I pick up where I left off? Do I start at the beginning again? And all of these things. Am I doing this right? I'm pretty sure I'm not doing this right because I'm not getting any results from it. Let's see, tomorrow I have some runs I need to make, and before you know it, the mind is off somewhere else, and you spend half of your meditation sit just with a discursive mind like that, and you get up and you say, I can't meditate. So it's something that is entered into gradually. It's a gradual training. And there is a part of it that is definitely investigative. The thing about it is, if you approach meditation this way, you will come to appreciate the benefits of it. You will come to appreciate the capacity of your mind, and you will come to know how to shift the mind to enter into deepening states of peace and tranquility and on the pillow. But how it helps you is that when you get off the pillow and you're dealing with the vicissitudes of life, because you've used on the pillow as a training mechanism, it's not for on the pillow. It's for as you're moving through life and all the postures of life. It's learning how, where your mind is and how to catapult into a kind of non-attached, non-grasping place, no matter what you're doing in life and no matter what what circumstances you encounter. Now, that also breaks your habitual tendencies because you're establishing a new place to park the mind. So if I'm always too slow, this will alert me to that particular tendency. And slow meaning non-committed, lazy, blasé. It will shift me. I will know immediately when I'm in those states because my meditation experience lets me know what vitality is. If I'm too quick, I don't even think about things before I'm executing. It will show me my what you call it, like the tortoise and the hare. It will show me how I'm like a jackrabbit, just a bunny rabbit, just running. Where before I thought that was efficiency. Now I can see that's not efficiency. That is not being stable, not and that's what meditation does. It reveals the shortcomings of our habitual tendencies. So there is a purpose in this. It's not just to sit and let go for a while. There is a great amount of investigation that goes on in the beginning. And so I think it takes a gradual approach to be able to make use of it in the way that it was intended. It also takes an object or a subject for you to uh, uh, bring your attention or your awareness to. So we don't just sit and like empty our minds. What is that? That's actually, we do place our mind on something. One reason why meditation teachers use the breath is simply because it's always with you. If it's not, you're dead. So it's something that you could take your mind to again and again and again, so that if you needed to say, I am going to practice, I have a handy tool or object by which to practice. If we're going to practice anything, I don't care what it is, we have to have something, some tool that we use by which we practice anything. So if I'm going to get better at basketball, then I need a ball. You know, I have to have something. Um, and so if you could think of the breath as a handy tool that's always with you, then that could become your object of meditation. So today, I'm going to give you a mini, like little, mini course in meditation. And I hope that it will whet your appetite and encourage you, number one, that you can meditate. Number two, that there is a benefit to it other than just saying, I can meditate. And three, that there is an objective that one hopes to, there is an objective in the meditation more than just I'm sitting. I haven't given a meditation retreat for maybe 4 years, 5 years, 5 years. And the reason that I didn't is because I withdrew to take a journey into the Dharma again with my meditation master. When I found him, I decided to set aside everything I thought I knew to be fully open and accessible. If you think someone is worthy to be your teacher, then you have to give him a chance to teach you. You know, we want to teach, but we don't want anybody to teach us anything. You know, so it was very easy for me to do that. It was very difficult for my Dhammacharyas to accept because they had just got their badges of I'm a teacher, you know, I'm at this level now. But the higher you go, the more you realize what you don't know. What you know is okay. It's good. Use what you know. But you start to get an inkling of really how much there is to know. And it wasn't that I lost my confidence. I'm just going to talk to you today. It wasn't that I lost my confidence about what I knew, but I had an ideal of perfection and clarity that I knew I had not entered into, that I thought was possible even for a person like me. And because I'd had a taste of what that could be, if you haven't tasted something like good old chocolate, uh, you don't have a yearning for it because you haven't tasted it. But once you tasted it, like you can't give me a Hershey's, no offense, Hershey, but you can't give me a Hershey bar now. If you give it to me, maybe I shouldn't pass it off to somebody else, but if you give it to me, I'm gonna pass it off to someone because it doesn't have the quality and the richness and the that my palate requires now that I have tasted a lint. No.
Oh, late truffle even, right?
Yeah, yeah. And so spiritual practice gets like this. Once you've had a Lent, Hershey doesn't do it for you anymore. And I hope nobody sues. Well, they could try. I don't have anything. But Hershey knows this wax is in their chocolate. Well, that's it. I knew that there was wax in my chocolate. I knew that there was impurity in my Dharma. I knew that, and whatever else there was that I could grasp on my level, I wanted to present myself available to be within the hearing of that Dharma. I wanted a chance to try to be better than I was. And the only way that was going to be possible was that I had to submit myself. And so it was very easy for me to do that. Now, part of it was, I think we, at the time, and Jim reminds me all the time, we had gone through half of, what's the name of the Bliss and Beyond? Mindfulness, Bliss and Beyond. And it was because most of my students that I would instruct, non-local, like when I was going all around the country, were mindfulness students. But they had never touched the bliss. They had some kind of mindfulness. But when we speak of the Eightfold Path, we talk about right or correct, or that which inures to the highest benefit. You could think of the word right like that. Right mindfulness. And if can be a right mindfulness, then there can also be a wrong one. So as we go through the Eightfold Path, just keep in mind that it's not just the word understanding, but right understanding, because it leads somewhere. We call it the way leading upward. Now, upward just means upward, but we have a connotation of what upward means if we say leading upward. We know that it just doesn't mean like a higher rung or upstairs. Upward the word, when you combine it in this conversation, we know that means something that is lifting, something that's elevating, something that takes you to a greater place, a vaster, more encompassing space of availability for walking through life, for being able to assist and support others, for not being a hindrance to others, for developing, for improving, for living out your true heart's desire. The good that I would do, I don't do, and that I don't want to do, I do it all the time. It's getting out of that kind of mode so that the good I would do, I do. And what I don't want to do, I have enough energy. I won't even say understanding, because we understand when we do wrong. Otherwise, we wouldn't call it doing wrong. You know, we wouldn't have a guilty conscience about it. We wouldn't, feel dejected or sad, because we know, not even after we do it, but we know when we're doing it, that it's not the best that we have to offer. We know even before we do it. We try to say, oh, like, I just like did it, and then now I'm thinking about it, afterwards, and it's so bad. But no, if we're really honest, in the moment when we're doing it, we may not have the discipline to put on the brakes, but we know when we're doing it in the moment. Yeah. And if you get and look at it really close, we know when we gonna do it. We do. We know when we're gonna say something, like, and then we say it, and then later we say, I gotta work harder, and setting a guard over my mouth. So the purpose of these trainings, practice, is to help us develop the skill, the ability to be honest with ourselves, and to have the discipline to do what we want to do and not do what we don't want to do. And if we have the right kind of faith, and in this instance, I'm speaking of faith as the right kind of motivation. If we don't have the right kind of motivation and have not exercised ourselves so that we have the right amount of energy to put behind the aspiration, then we can't make it. We can't walk in it, and we don't change. Or we change, but we don't change enough, so much so that we feel like more of a phony before. I mean, more of a phony now than before I think we lost it. More of a phony now than before we were even trying to practice. And so the further we go in our practice, the worse we get. because now we are aware of our shortcomings, but we're also aware that we're not willing to put forth the effort that it takes to be different, to overcome something, to some. So then doubt sets in and discouragement. So you can see how you get on a slippery slope. Doubt sets in and discouragement. And then the way we try to offset the doubt and the discouragement finally is to say that path is not the way. And the next thing we know, we're no longer even, studying the Dharma, coming to Dharma, practicing the Dharma. And then the stage after that is that we speak disparagingly of the Dharma. It doesn't take all of that. And then after that, we're completely spun out. That's how people rise and fall. Now, when I used to give this retreat, which I will go back to when we do our day long, just looking at dates and who's traveling and who's home, because this will probably be the last one that I give. And it would be remiss of me to not try to be as inclusive as possible. But I use a method, different teachers have different methods. And I use implements. They're called eye mask and earplugs. And the reason that I use eye mask and earplugs is because in 500 BC, they didn't have all the worldly distractions that we have now. I mean, if we just get silent for a minute, I hear this technology humming. It's okay. I hear, no. It's not.
It's not staying connected.
It's not staying connected.
Okay.
I don't want that screen to be.
Okay, that's
going
fine.
towards your eyes.
Well, I'm worried about it buzzing in his head.
It's on you.
In David's head.
It's on.
Well, I can, but I'm saying I hear the technology.
Oh, yeah. The high frequency.
I can hear it. When I lay in my bed at night, I hear it in the walls. And so there's this like kind of drone. There's always that drawing me out. So when I'm giving meditation instructions, I have us wear earplugs because if you just for 5 seconds, just put your fingers in your ears, 5 seconds, and then take it out. You could close your eyes too. Okay. First thing I want to ask you is, what was the sensation? What did you notice?
Pressure in my ears, like the sound and the vibration within my eardrums.
Okay. Anything else?
But there are sounds internal. But there is a buzzing that's happening sort of inside the body as well.
Good. Anything else?
It's part of the beauty when you do lose the power.
I'm sorry?
It's part of the beauty of when you lose the power and the electricity of just that beauty of stillness and silence and recognizing how much is really going on that has nothing to do with this here.
Lauren says buzzing, a feeling of underwater, and Maya says silence.
Mhm.
The energy is no longer going outward.
That's what I was looking for, right there. The energy is no longer outward. Instead of being outward focused, you immediately were in. All those other things are really true because I would say, and what else? But all of those point us to the energy was no longer scattered. It began to coalesce. Right? And that's why suddenly, we were more inwardly contained. Now, if you close your eyes and just close them, and now open them. Now close them with your hands over your eyes. Don't press your eyes, but just cup them. And remove your hands. What do you notice?
There's a subtle light that we can see through our eyelids without the,
I feel like I go more inward.
More inward is what I was looking for. So earplugs take us from the outer sounds more internally. Eye mask takes us from the brightness of the outer world more inward. That's half of the battle in meditation. So this just becomes in 2025 skillful means. You see how teachers come up with skillful means? It's not so much to do. Now, if we started meditating at 3 in the morning, by the time the sun came up at 8, if we were really meditating, we'd be so far in, we wouldn't even know the sun came up. But we don't start at 3 in the morning, do we? So you can see how this. Now I want to see if you can do this. If you can put your thumbs in your ear and cover. If you got fingernails, it might be difficult. And don't press. And take them out. Then you see that you've cut off half of your obstacle to meditation right there, because you just put yourself in sort of a cave-like environment, just sitting right here in the chair. Now, sitting in a chair is good. But when I sit in a chair, my mind does not know what I'm going to do. I could just be resting my feet. I could be getting ready to talk. I could be getting ready to read. If I meditate sitting in a chair, I could be getting ready to meditate. I could be getting ready to engage in a conversation. So it can't really help me because it doesn't know. It's standing by, mind is standing by to do its part, but it doesn't know exactly what I'm going to do. The reason why it is helpful to sit on a cushion is because when I get in that posture, my mind knows exactly what I want to do. They know I'm not there for conversating. I'm not there to read a book. When I get in that posture, it says when she gets like that, she wants to meditate. That's my cue to power down. I don't have to lead her right now. I don't have to protect her right now. I don't have to tell her what to do. When I get in this particular posture, That's also like the purpose of having sacred spaces. That when I come here, this is all I do here. It doesn't have to be its own room. It could be one corner of the room. Just one particular place that you do nothing there but that activity. That's why having an altar set up somewhere and sitting in front of it invokes a certain full body mind cooperation. Uh, at least for a short while, at least for a couple of minutes, before our mind starts running off. Sometimes we like adoringly look at it, at our like altar space, because we know at least for a short while, our affection is drawn towards it for a single purpose, and then we might lose it and, it becomes like ordinary space or we're distracted. But that first gaze is right there. Hmm? This is learning to notice the little things. We're not going to be able to read this in a book. It is something that we have to experience. And one has to have experienced it to be able to transmit it, to share it. So you can't become an expert at meditation by studying the words. But if you practice it, you will enter into the reality of the words. Okay, so sitting is not just about the mind understanding when I do this, because some of us can't sit in a different way. There are benefits to being able to sit like in a full lotus position or a half lotus position that has to do with the regulation of the body. And in the retreat, we will talk about that, but I don't want you to get too burdened down with it, because if you can't do it, then the reasons don't matter, right? If physically we can't do it, then the reasons don't matter. They just will become, the mind will then become an obstacle around, well, I can't meditate because I can't get in a lotus, position or something like that. But when you can, it has to do with the body becoming like weightless. The way that we make our furniture, you notice I am never sitting back in my chair like this. I never sit in my chair. That's how we relax. Our chairs have like a slope. They even made meditation chairs that sit on the floor, and they were like beach loungers, just not having any understanding, of the mechanics of things. But there is a way that the body stacks so that it feels weightless. So when I sit in a chair, I sit with my tush all the way to the back of the chair, and I stack my frame, so that it feels weightless. Means I don't get the back fatigue from the recline. I don't get yeah, you get a back fatigue, but being stacked, and it didn't feel comfortable when I first started, because it was a new thing, because I'm used to like leaning, right? But when I understood what my body needed in order to be able, if I master this meditation thing, I might sit there 2 hours without moving. I might sit there, I don't know how long. How will my body do it? How will I not slump over? How will I not fall asleep? How will I not get? But I learned the set like that. So my body automatically stacks. We say the top of our head is right here, but if you feel there's a place like where the hair grows out the center point and it starts going like that, that's like really where the top of the head is. And if you could imagine a string just lifting, you'll notice that your neck is not extended, but in the back, it does like that. So you have a slight lifting there and a slight indenting there. And now this heavy old head rests without weight on the fragile bones of the neck. And suddenly, the head doesn't feel heavy anymore. It slots right in like it should be. See, so you can see that posture is important in meditating. Now, that's not the meditation, that's just the setup. Okay. And so there we are. The other thing is that when we're used to slumping, if we remember that as if we were being extended by a cord at the top of our head, all you have to do is go back and remember where the head rests and the body can't slump. So the spine doesn't curve. And suddenly there's a lightness that you experience. It requires a little bit of effort, not too much, not too little, just right. Now, I don't know where just right is for you, but part of this setup is finding just right for you. And remembering it's not here at the top, but it's there where the broadest part of the head is, if by a string, and doing that causes the chin to tuck just a little, not like this, but just slightly back. And it makes all the difference in the world as to whether you feel the weight of your head or you don't. And when it's in that perfect space, you don't. And yet there's a little bit of tension there that's almost akin to physical alertness, not mental alertness, but just kind of a physical alertness. And then the hands just rest naturally. They can be turned over, they can be turned under, they can be in a mudra, different, but just say for now, hands just resting naturally. Feet are planted flat on the floor if you're sitting in a chair. And that can be almost as good as sitting in your full lotus or half lotus. We can make it work really good. And the next time I have my cushion in here. because that has something to do with the channels in the body. Like now, if you're going to really get into some depth, you know, but you got a little bit of time for that. It has to do with the angling of the thighs going down in placement on the floor. I guess, can you? Everybody can't see me if I get on the floor though, can you? When I bring my platform, I'll show you. But it has to do with the angling of the thighs. Like when they're up like this, it's gonna be difficult. But as they lay down like this, you'll feel your body parts less and less and less. And so I didn't start like this. I started like this. But bit by bit, the flexibility came. And I'd only stay with it as long as I could, you know. But like I say, a lot of us are advanced in age and, you know, we ain't gonna get new bones. And so we can modify because that's just a help, an aid. It's not the main thing. Are you with me? Okay. I used to feel so bad when I go into the meditation hall. Everybody's sitting on their cushions, and I couldn't sit on my cushion. I had to sit in a chair. But I could meditate, though. That's the difference. Okay. Okay. And so now we come to an object. We pick an object. That object, or we can pick a subject. But let's just say we're going to use an object, and the object is our breath. And if we were to close our eyes, we don't have an eye mask, we don't have earplugs. Yeah. But we can remember how a few minutes ago, when we had the earplugs in, how it drew us inward. And when the eyes were covered, how it drew us inward. And suddenly we're not aware or so aware of the person sitting next to us or just our outer world. So do this when you go home today and try it. Just a few minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, not a long time. Please, not a long time, just a few minutes. And turning, he says, abandoning the stresses of the world. That's how he tells us to start. Our intention right now for this 5-minute sit or 3-minute sit is to just abandon covetousness for the world. All the things that we think about, all the things that we're concerned about, all the situations that exist in our life to be handled, all the people that we think about, even myself that I think about. If I could just get out of myself for just a few minutes, if I could step away from me and mine, my things, my friends, my family, I want, I need, I don't have, I need to get rid of. If we could just step away from that for a minute and only concentrate on the object of breath, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling at your own pace. And just imagine what it would be like if you didn't hear anybody else breathing, right? It's just your own inhalation and exhalation. Then you could do it at your own pace, right? So we wouldn't all be inhaling together and exhaling, even though I'm doing it right now to give you a for example. But you were just turning your attention to your own inhalation and your exhalation. Then you start to notice something. Now, see, that's applied thought. You're applying, focusing your attention, and you're going to apply your thought to just your inhalation and exhalation. Just as an object, nothing else special about the breath, but just as an object. And now you notice it, really notice it. A minute ago, you weren't thinking about the breath. But now that you're focusing your attention on it, you can notice some things. You can notice the length of the breath. How long it is on the inhalation compared to how long it is on the exhalation. And you might say, I breathe in long. I breathe out short. Or for you, your inhalation might be shorter than your exhalation. I breathe in short. Compared to my exhalation, I breathe out long. Or you might say they are of the same length. Or you might say sometimes my inhalation is longer than my exhalation, and sometimes it's shorter. Now, I'm not trying to do anything with the breath now. I'm simply noticing. I'm just noticing. So just try that for 5 breaths, just noticing. Sometimes you'll notice that the inhalation might be rough or loud, and the exhalation soft or smooth. Sometimes the inhalation is smooth and easy, and the exhalation is janky and coarse. Every in and out breath is not the same. And you're not trying to make it the same. You're simply noticing. The difference. But you're also noticing how the mind begins to settle down. Now, you might be able to do that for a minute or 2 minutes, but then the mind's going to get bored. So you stop. You just stop. When the mind starts to flake off on you, you just stop. one way that we train the mind to be able to stay there with that is to count 1 to 10. So you count 10 breaths and you start over 1 to 10. And there's many ways to embellish that. You know, one way we've taught is that if you need to gain weight, you count 1 on the inhalation, 1 as you're inhaling, 2 as you're inhaling. And if you want to lose weight, you count 1 on the exhalation. So you breathe in 1. But you're not saying verbally 1, but you're just kind of in the mind. 2, 3. But you see how you're training the mind to stay right where you've placed it. That's it. Okay, so now that's the breath. You could use something like peace or gratitude. Gratitude's a good one. And suddenly you start to think of what you're grateful for. That I'm alive. That I'm retired. I don't have to get up every morning. Did that for so many years, you know, that I don't have to do that now. That my children are grown and none of them are locked up. And they're fairly happy and well adjusted in their life. Now, you can't say it if it's not true. You have to find something else, you know? But that's just what I'm saying for me. But you think of it, you know. And what you're going to do is you're going to counter thoughts that you have had. You know, I once was rich and now I'm not. You know, like that might come to your mind a lot if you had a lot of resources at one time, which I did, you know. But now I don't have a house to my name. And yet, like, I'm so glad I don't have a house to my name. I don't, you know, I have a gratitude for not having things that I had to invest so much of my life and energy in, you know, and that even when we get tired of them, we can't let them go because of the pride of life. But I'm really glad, really. The freedom, it's an exchange. It's a different kind of freedom. And I recognize for me, it's good. So just starting to think of what we're really grateful for and about. And sometimes we'll find that we've been living in the past, in the present, because of our mental grasping around things that we had, and we might have liked them when we had them. You know, they may have gone away in circumstances that we didn't like. And because we didn't like the circumstance, we think we still don't like not having them. And we like perfectly satisfied. But the mind didn't catch up. The mind didn't catch up. It got locked in the past. This is helping to shake all of that loose. You see what I'm saying? Very simple. If you know the reason why. Sometimes we don't know the reason why. That's why we can't get into a thing. We think it's this big mystery around. No, it's not a big mystery. This is just a practice in freeing the mind, detaching it, unattaching it for things. We use now. Like we don't say killed somebody or the person died. We say they unalived him. you know. I just think, oh my God, our education has gone to the dog. But I mean, but why should I think that way? Just because I'm stuck in the past. You know, unalive is just as good as saying dead. But you see how we stick to things. I'm talking, I'm telling you, this will free you in so many ways. That's what I'm saying. And so that's how we start our meditation. And I'm going to end in 5 minutes, but I wanted to leave you with a complete cycle. It's 10 after 1 already. But you see, like we've already spent almost an hour just in the preliminary setup for meditation. You can see that if you're going to do this thing, you really need to set aside some time because you will get to like it. It will soothe your mind and your heart in a very profound way. No. Okay, and so now we're just sitting here and we're practicing using the object of gratitude. You know, what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful to live in a country where for now I can freely study the Dharma and practice it. I can't even say that's going to be true a year from now because I see certain forces gathering that's going to make it real uncool to be anything but a certain type of Christian. I see it mounting up from the head, trickling down. Now I see that coming. I'm not asleep. This is not a practice where we go to sleep, dumb down, and don't see anything. I see it. So even if I had to go underground to freely, exercise my freedoms in practice, I can do that. I can't get in a place that I can only meditate if I come into an assembly. I might have to be able to do this on my own. You might. Am I afraid of that? No, because I know how. Do you? And so here you're learning your mind and how to free your mind. An inner liberty and freedom that no man can take from you. So we may lose some outer privileges, but if you have it internally, no man can hinder you. Now, with this comes other benefits that will work outwardly, like in the world. But first, you gotta have it inwardly. So, and gratitude, and you can pick something else. You can pick love. I like that song because that song is speaks of my yearning to know the truth, to want to know the truth, and wanting to know how I can live in such a way that I can be true to myself, my own vow. That's so deep. It's okay that I live up to my word with you, but it's more important that I live up to my own word within me. That's what enables me to live up to what I say to you. That's what enables me to hold steady when I feel like falling apart. I just don't feel like it today. But for you, I will be steady to help you in the face of fear or uncertainty to also be steady. And I'll combine my strength with yours, and together we can stand fearless. I mean, What do you offer people? What do you offer people? However you are, that's what you offer people. Not what you wish, but what you actually give. So if you give fear and doubt and hesitancy and jealousy and anger and sullenness and selfishness, and do you give people your stability, your strength, your concern, your compassion, your love, your steadiness, your clear thinking, your what do you give people? And do you give people anything? Do you just like move all around with special words and stuff like that? But behind those words is nothing, nothing that measures up to the words, just empty gas bags of blah, blah. You know, this is helping us to be real, to be authentic. This is a path that leads towards awakening, and it's a real thing. And you'll start to feel more confident within yourself the more you recognize the path and actually walk it, not thinking about it, but walk it. When you walk, your feet get tired. Sometimes your legs get tired. Sometimes you wonder how much further. Sometimes, it's up a hill and sometimes we're walking down a hill. All that goes with walking. It goes with the territory. But we find that we have the strength to do it. And after a while, when we learn how to not be so attached to it, it becomes almost effortless. Or when it's not effortless, we can still count it all joy when we have to walk through the tough terrains, knowing that it builds our character, it builds our strength, it builds our determination, it fortifies who we say we are on the inside. It's in these ways we change and we shift, and what we say and what we think and what we do becomes synonymous, and we find ourselves aligned, and we can be at peace. Not saying that we're necessarily perfect, but that we are just aligned. Our thoughts, our speech, and our action aligned. That's why somebody can have some faults, They can have some faults. They don't have to be perfect, but they're stable because their thoughts, their speech, and their action line up. Thoughts are not down here and their bravados up here and their actions are down here. They're not like that. They're like that. I know where to find John at all times because his thought, speech, and action line up. I know where to find Sue at all times. She might be here and John might be here and I might be there, but thought, speech, and action line up. That means I might have to bring my words down a little bit to like get more in line with how I really act. Or I might have to, it's about getting that balance around little things. Maybe talking less because I do less, But you start learning where you are unbalanced inside. And this is the first benefit of meditation, right meditation that inures towards something. So it's not a quick process. It's not just a matter of employing some techniques, but there's a whole lot of investigating going on. And we haven't even gotten to the investigation of states yet. This is just getting into the posture to begin. So I'd like to ask you this week if you would just spend 5 minutes a day finding that sweet spot where the body feels completely aligned. Where you're shutting out the outside sounds and sights, being aware maybe of the inside sounds. And then after a while, they will even quiet down. You'll hear boom, 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 and that'll be distracting. Then you'll hear, because that's your heart pumping juice, you'll hear that. And after a while, that will settle down. And you'll recognize that you're refining and more your concentration, and that you really can do it. That is really easy, actually, if you know the path and if you put a little bit of effort to it, and that you don't stay too long. But you have to train the mind to not get bored. That's why I have to end this conversation, because now our minds are already starting to wander. I can tell. So I will end it right here, but just practice that and do it 5 minutes, only 5 minutes at a time, getting used to just this part of it. Okay, and let's talk about it when I see you on, what's today? On Wednesday. Let's just see where we are with this, and if we've made enough progress, then we'll go to the next step. Now, when we actually have the retreat, we will have done all of this by then, and we'll have all of this down, so that when we come together, we can produce. I keep seeing, like, when the atom bomb goes off and you have this cloud of smoke, we can just fill the room with our capacity, to cast away distractions and have a singleness of mind. Now you'll learn how to use this later in your understanding of the Dharma. You'll be single focused. You'll hear and catch concepts and things right off the bat. And then you'll learn how to apply contemplative illumination that inures to prajna. Any question about what you're doing for the next few days? It's going to go somewhere bombastic. I'll tell you, that's the truth. We dedicate the merit from practice today to all beings in the 3 spheres, and without any regard for ourselves. Okay, so one little thing I forgot to tell you is, over time we get like this. So if you could think smile without actually smiling, but just think it causes the muscles to, like, just slightly turn. So we're not, like, smiling, but just,
and not do it.
yeah, but if you just think it, I'm not asking you to smile, just smile. And suddenly there will be the upturn, what it does is it's just relaxing our muscles because we're so stressed and so used to dealing with crap, you know, and so do that as well. Okay, thank you so much. I hope this has been helpful to you.